There's a lot going on with the markets and the latest job numbers.
By the way, the job numbers were pretty good. Better than people in the stock market especially were hoping for. They're like, fuck it, why can't there be a month where there's 100,000 so the fucking Fed will stop raising rates? That's what they're all clamoring for. And meanwhile, he's like, I know that we keep saying every fucking month the economy's just going to collapse, and it fucking won't. Why won't it? Why won't you just die?
I got a note from somebody I really trust last night, said, buckle up.
Because they knew you were drunk driving?
It could be right around the corner. And I'm like, dude, I've been buckled up since 2008.
So you're saying your predictions have just eaten shit for that long?
It's always just around the corner.
Right. I don't know why that's not the name of your fucking show.
Carol Roth is with us. She is the...
Oh, my God. Carol Roth. So I know Carol Roth from Twitter. I don't think I've ever met her in person, but she sent me a copy of her book to possibly blurb or review or whatever. And it's this idea that the Democrats are declaring war on the middle class and whatever. And she supposedly... Yeah, the war on small business. That's what it's called. There you go. She comes at it from supposedly an economics background. And I have to say, the more I read the book, the more it just sounded like Karen politics.
The author of The War on Small Business, former investment banker, gone good, and she has a book also coming out this summer that makes a great companion book with mine, You Will Own Nothing. In fact, I highly recommend, if you're going to, and verify, Carol, I'm not getting any profits from your book, so I'm saying this because I believe it. It makes a great companion book with mine.
Yeah, because he's hoping if you buy her book, you'll buy his piece of shit too. He's like, yeah, the Great Reset book, which is you've got boxes and boxes and boxes of them. We know they're in the same garage with Mark Levin's book.
So buy both of them.
I have to say, Glenn, if you go on Amazon and they, it's on pre-order right now. If they say the books frequently bought together, it's your book and my book.
Yeah, same lunatics. Yeah, we get it. Now they're not frequently bought, but when they are bought, they're frequently bought together. It's a little. The language will often, the whole frequently bought gets you all excited. And then together goes, oh, okay, when they're bought, they only buy both because I bought your book and a copy of my book and you bought my book and a copy of your book to kind of boost sales. Our friends all did that. That's how it works.
Good. Well, they belong together. They belong together. So I was just talking about something that I haven't seen anyone else talk about. And that is J.P. Morgan Chase. Jamie Dimon comes out and says, hey, we got to start seizing land for, wind farms. And it's just breathtaking.
Yes, J.P. Morgan Chase, who is in the Biden administration. Also, hold on. Jamie Dimon seize land wind farms. This is on Recharge News. Okay. J.P. Morgan Chase chief. Also, fuck you. By the way, why is that a liberal thing somehow? Why is that our fault? That's one of your dudes. The head of banking, giant J.P. Morgan Chase, has said the U.S. government may in future need to seize private land in order to end bottlenecks that are slowing the development of renewable energy projects worldwide. Said the eminent domain, the right of the state to seize and appropriate private property for public use, may need to be invoked in order to unlock wind, solar, and grid projects necessary for global transition to renewable energy and away from fossil fuels amid climate crisis. He made the comments in an open letter to shareholders published on the bank's website. Dimon said that much greater cooperation between governments, plural, and private sector was needed to speed renewable energy development, deployment, which, by the way, what he means is the government needs to give his investment structure more money Right. He pointed out that while policies like U.S. Inflation Reduction Act were helpful in encouraging investment, they were not yet delivering enough new support to wean economies off fossil fuels. Massive global investment in clean energy technologies must be done and must continue to grow year over year. At the same time, permitting reforms are desperately needed to allow investment to be done in any kind of timely way. We may even need to evoke eminent domain. We simply are not getting the adequate investment fast enough for grid, solar, wind, and pipeline initiatives. Oh, and pipeline initiatives. Well, there goes the whole fucking... I guess that you lost AOC at that moment, dummy. His comments on the need to improve IRA and streamline permitting echoed those of wind industry giants such as Siemens Gamesa. Last year, the manufacturing major produced a white paper which said the long and unpredictable permitting process limit the viability of wind projects and transmission infrastructure, frequently choking off investment and the speedy rollout of new wind farms in the process. Then went on to evoke the Marshall Plan, the massive... he argued the new version of the Marshall Plan for energy and food security should be launched by the U.S. government, but suggested oil and gas production could also play a role. Now, where's the actual fucking white paper? Okay, that's the same one, right? That's in the must-read in Wind Power News. Shoe. That's the same one. All right. I would like to see the white paper where they're not quoting him, but whatever. That's the end of it. And by the way, the idea that Jamie Dimon is saying it and saying, again, that he is actually saying, the head of JP Morgan Chase is saying we may need to use eminent domain to seize land for energy needs, which may include oil and gas and pipelines. Like, the fuck out of here. That suddenly this is, that he's taking orders from the fucking Biden administration or something.
Breathtaking.
But why? It's his opinion and it won't actually do anything. And he's on your side, dumb fuck.
How out in the open they are.
Who's they? It's the head of JP Morgan Chase. The fuck? You're not talking about it. The head of Greenpeace. Greta Thunberg didn't say this.
You aren't going to own anything.
That's not what he said. And by the way, eminent domain and lack of private ownership, you have to compensate people for eminent domain, stupid.
Yeah, it's so brazen. When you hear these things like you will own nothing or we're going to seize these things.
By the way, nice IKEA, Carol. Secondly, we don't hear these things. Some people say these things. So fucking what?
You kind of think of is this a conspiracy theory? Because
No, it's his idea. And he posted it as an idea, we need to grow our amount of this, but to get it going faster, they may have to use eminent domain for these kind of things and seize, private land. Well, if they do that, they have to compensate you. And in the compensation, it's going to be for transmission lines and that kind of stuff. And some people might fight back that. And the permitting process takes too long and blah, 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 blah. It's the same complaint that Trump had about real estate development. They all want to get rid of the permitting process. The idea that they're doing it for some sort of, nefarious green tech idea is a fucking smokescreen at best.
No way the elite and the well-connected could be advocating for the end of property rights.
It was in his quarterly report.
That's what I'm saying. It's unbelievable. They are saying the quiet part aloud. If you do the research, it is everywhere. And the challenge is it's coming from every direction. So
No, it's not. I got news for you. Donald Trump was the first president to give American territory to Mexico since the 1800s. Since the War of the Alamo, I think. Never was a line drawn that gave land to Mexico by the United States, except for Trump's fucking wall, where he used eminent domain for the wall to get parts of it through, and split property owned by other people with the wall, making the land on south of the wall fucking Mexico. You have no property rights or no protections on the other side of the fucking wall, even though the border is technically a half a mile away. But the Biden administration isn't doing this, you dumbass.
Not like it's just one force that's coming at you. It's not just like it's the government or the Fed or the banking sector or the NGOs or big tech.
It's all of it. We're all surrounded. Everybody's trying to do it. Nobody wants us to. They're all part of the World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab runs the whole world.
Everybody and all at once. And it's really—
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. The you will own nothing and you'll be happy idea of like goods and like phones and shit like that, which you mostly rent these days anyways. Like car leases, most people lease their cars at a certain higher level, and that's what they're talking about. You can have access to a nicer car if you lease it, turn it over. Phones and the same kind of shit. Like you basically don't own your phone. Very few people buy it outright. You make little payments, so technically you don't own your phone, and they could repossess it if they wanted to. And if you didn't want to do that process, you can buy it, but you don't have to. And if the newer one comes out, you're not tied to this old one. Like, fuck, I just paid $1,000 for this fucking thing, and a new one came out that does twice what it does for, $800. Son of a bitch. You could just roll it over most of the time. That's what they're talking about with a lot of these things. That's how most things are operating now. And it's like they say in the South, nobody buys a beer, you just rent it. You don't own a beer, you just rent it. And the same thing is true with a bunch of these things. But in the case of eminent domain, that's a wholly different thing. Jesus Christ.
Really interesting, because if you think about how people used to, or countries used to seize riches, right? They would go to war with other countries and they would take other people's riches. But
yeah, where was that? I mean, can we do that more? When are we going to do that again? That was awesome.
This time it's your own government and everyone around you coming at you. They are at war with you.
No, they're not. Also, hold on. Wait. Letter to shareholders. Two days ago. Annual letter to shareholder. Talking about the banking. Okay, hold on. I think. Let's see. Text. I don't know. Yeah, here you go. Jamie Dimon letter to shareholders 2023. Dear fellow shareholders. Hi. Snarf. Hold on. Hello. Hi. I'm Jamie Dimon. Hello. He doesn't talk like that. We are champions of banking's essential role. We are the champions. We are the champions. No time for Glenn Beck. All right. It's potential for bringing people together, for enabling companies and okay, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Across the globe, another year of significant challenges, terrible war in Ukraine, growing geopolitical tensions, particularly with China, to a politically divided America, blah, blah, blah. These events unfold. America remains divided within its borders. The global leadership role is being challenged outside of its borders. Nevertheless, there is a moment when we should put aside our differences and work with our Western nations to come together in defense of democracy and essential freedoms. Okay, so he's including free enterprise, which is why he wants to support Ukraine. During other times of great crisis, we have seen America, in partnership with other countries across the globe, unite for a common cause. That is the moment again. Okay, in spite of unsettling landscape. Let's see. In total, we extended credit and raised capital of $2.4 trillion for our consumer and institutional clients across the world. I remain proud of our company's resiliency and what our hundreds of thousands of employees around the world have achieved collectively and individually throughout these challenging past few years. We never stopped doing all the things we should be doing to serve our clients and our communities, adhering to our basic principles and challenges. The As you know, we are champions of banking's essential role in community, its potential for bringing people together, for enabling companies and individuals to attain their goals, and for being a source of strength with our steadfast principles worth repeating. Fifth, we strive to build enduring business, blah, blah. Here's their earnings, diluted earnings, doing pretty good there, I guess. Tangible book value, there's all their share shit, there's blah, blah, blah. And then if you were making lots of money, and everything's fine, and specifics facing the thing, and we're proud of this, and make possible dreams every day, and highlight our diversity, equity, and inclusion, which of course is a fucking panic attack. Here's why Glenn Beck is shitting the bed. Update on our $30 billion racial equity commitment. Oh, dear God. ESG! ESG! Yeah, that's why he hates Jamie Dimon.
So, this is the time that we have to get battle
And this
ready.
is why they've said for years it's a conspiracy theory.
No. I don't think this is a conspiracy theory. I think you're both assholes. It's a lot less complicated.
Because they needed to delay us from stopping it.
Yeah, that's right. We had all our, he had accounts at Chase Bank for a long time and shit.
And only when the American people wake up, and we're running out of time. I saw on Tucker Carlson, what?
Oh, good. So at least you're going to a good source.
Night before last, he's now all over de-dollarization.
Uh-huh. Gee, it's almost like everybody got the same fucking memo.
Which, I've been talking about that forever, and no one thought that was possible. And it's happening in exactly the way I thought it would, when people felt the dollar was at the end and America was weak.
Okay, first of all, that's not the feeling at all. It's frustratingly strong. Here, hold on one second. He does this every fucking time. U.S. dollar. I think it actually dipped below $1 for the first time. Treasury, okay, shit. I was about to say, I think it was at 99 cents or whatever. Why aren't you going? What's happening? Get back here. Hold on. Damn you, Joe Biden, you're fucking up the whole thing. U.S. yields and dollar climbs after jobs report. Fucking hell. Why can't... It's just like Glenn Beck said. And Sagar. They're almost like this. It's Sagar and Glenn Beck working out economics. New York, April 7th. That's soon, right? U.S. Treasury yields and the dollar climbed in an abbreviated session on Friday because it's Good Friday, after employment data for March indicated the labor market remained tight last month, raising the odds that the Federal Reserve has at least one more rate hike in store. Wall Street exchanges were closed until Monday due to the Good Friday holiday. European markets are closed on both Friday and Monday. Non-farm payrolls increased by 236,000 goddamn jobs. Data for February was revised higher. Shit! To show 326,000 jobs were added instead of 311,000. You bastard, Joe Biden. All right. Stop it. The unemployment rate dipped from 3.5 to 3.5 from 3.6. And by the way, that's because they revised the number. The 3.6 where it supposedly went up, it didn't. Nevertheless, the data that are going to keep the Fed on track for a 25 basis point hike in May. Let's see, full future contracts, blah, 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 blah. Where's the fucking story continues? Where's the dollar? I know they have it in here. Treasury yield was up 17.2 basis points to 3.99%. The dollar index rose 0.13%. It's $1.09 again. Son of a bitch. Oh, sorry. Dollar index rose 0.13% with the euro down 0.09 to $1.91. I remember when the euro was worth $2. You remember that? That is destroying the dollar. So stupid. It's so stupid. It's so aggravating. They would have the, you know what? Like, when this shit happens, I'm always prepared for, hey, maybe I'm a little behind. Maybe the dollar dropped to 86 cents. Maybe that's the big thing. And suddenly the dollar's going to be worth less in world markets. And therefore, that's why people are dropping it. They're not dropping it. It's too expensive. They can't afford it. They can't get enough dollars. The fucking Fed is tightening the reins and taking money out of the system because it's causing inflation. And that's what he thinks he's fucking fighting, even though it's caused by supply shock, not by inflation, but whatever the fuck. Because this idea that the money printer went burr and off you go. But if the dollar costs more than your own local currency, you're going to go with your own local currency, no matter how shitty it is. Oh, God. It's so dumb.
Come up with a better dollar. And that.
Yeah. And that's the yuan. Yes. Yes. Because the Chinese aren't known for manipulating their currency on purpose. How China influences the U.S. dollar. China directly affects the U.S. dollar by loosely pegging the value of its currency, the renminbi, to the dollar. China's central bank uses a modified version of traditional fixed exchange rate that differs from the floating exchange rate of the United States and many other countries use. The People's Bank manages the yuan's value. It keeps it fixed to a basket of currencies reflecting its trading partners. The basket is weighted towards the dollar since the United States is China's largest trading partner. It keeps the yuan's value within a 2% range against the currency basket. On August 11, 2015, the PBOC, People's Bank of China, modified this peg. The change uses a reference rate that is equal to the previous day's yuan closing value. The PBOC wanted the yuan to be more driven by market forces, even if it meant greater market volatility. The International Monetary Fund added the renminbi to its special drawing rights basket, a supplement of official reserve currencies for different countries. Why China fixes the yuan's value to the dollar. Now, again, one would think that if you fix your currency to the value of the US dollar, if the US dollar takes a shit, what happens to your currency? Exactly. Okay. Let's see. The changing value of here you go. Market forces in China's currency management efforts can lead to notable fluctuations in the value of the yuan. For example, China's 2015 modification to its exchange rate allowed the yuan's value to fall from just over 6.1 yuan per dollar at the beginning to just under 6.4 per dollar in September of that year. To restore the yuan's value, the PBOC used its dollar reserves to buy yuan from Chinese banks. By taking that's their version of repo. By taking the yuan out of circulation, the bank raised the currency's value. At the same time, it lowered the dollar's value by putting more dollars into circulation. They still hold an enormous amount of dollars as their primary reserve to peg to their currency, because if those dollars flow out, get spent, or get removed by the Fed from circulation, they can't use them themselves. Okay. In January 2016, China further relaxed its control of yuan. The uncertainty over the yuan's future contributed to the Dow falling almost 1,500 points. S&P 500 fell about 2.3. By 2017, yuan had fallen to its lowest point since 2008. But China wasn't in a currency war with the United States. Instead, it was trying to compensate for the rising dollar. Between 2014 and 2015, the dollar rose 11.8%. Gee, I forget who was president. Because it was pegged to the dollar, the yuan followed it. China's exports became more expensive than those from other countries not tied to the dollar. Again, we're not talking about petrodollars for all the dum-dums at home who think that's a fucking thing. It had to lower its exchange rate to remain competitive. China's inflation. China's leaders must slow economic growth to avoid inflation and future collapse. They pumped too much liquidity into state-run companies and banks because they are flooding the world with useless yuan, which is one of the other reasons why they need it to become a reserve currency, so other people grab it and park on it. The Russians did that, and then and they were like, we'll pay you back, we'll make the exchange in yuan. So, yeah, we'll give you this, you give us yuan. And then they were like, we'll buy that and we'll give you your yuan back. And they're like, nope, we don't want it. Fuck are you talking about? It's your currency. Yeah, we don't want it back. We want rubles for that, or US dollars or gold or something else. We don't want our money. You sit on our money. Why? Well, because we want to be able to fuck with our numbers internationally to say that it sits there as a part of a reserve currency, not as a denied currency, which is what it fucking is. And then, oh, by the way, this goes on into the impact of China's slowing growth, which, of course, is an area that Sagar and Carol and Glenn and all these motherfuckers just do not want to look at. I don't get it. There's another reason China needs to be careful with slowing growth. Emerging market countries rely on exports to China to fuel their growth. As China's growth slows, it will hurt some of those trade partners more than others. As those countries, keep an eye out for that, Brazil. As these countries' exports slow, so will their growth. Foreign direct investment will drop as well, which absolutely happened, by the way. Foreign direct investment in China has taken a huge shit. I can't, like, hold on one second. I know this is where I get riled up, but between that Sagar shit and this, fucking hell. China, hold on one second. Let's see. China, foreign. Yeah. Let's see. Where's this one? This is from the Nikkei. Yeah. This is. Can I read this? Or are you going to block it? Okay, we're good. Okay. I want you before I show you what I'm about to show you, I want you to remember what Sagar said about China being the number 2 economy in the world without any sense of irony about that phrase. And I want you also to remember what Crystal Ball said and what Dore has said and what I guess Glenn Beck has said multiple times and what Carol Roth is talking about to some degree about this whole, like, they're going to eat our lunch, that whole story. Let me just show you some. This is what we would call in reality a fucking fact. Foreign investment in China slumps to 18-year low. Economic and political worries spur more exits and fewer new entries. Not only, forget the small companies that have just stopped ordering shit from China because it's unreliable or they don't like it or whatever the fuck. Apple is getting out of China. Their exit strategy is going to take years to do it. And part of the State Department, one of the biggest reasons we're playing footsie with China and not being as dickish as we absolutely could be right now, and why we're tiptoeing in a couple of areas, is to give Apple time to extract itself from China in particular, to get their factories up and running in other countries, namely Vietnam, Indonesia, India, and parts of Eastern Europe and Mexico. Chip factories in the United States, but the places that actually build stuff, they actually functionally, just put them together, slap them together. Again, made in China often means assembled in China. Okay. Investment by foreign companies in China, and this is not just the U.S., by the way. This is world fucking wide. Because remember that old COVID thing? Apparently, the rest of the world still has a chip on its shoulder as well. If you're an Italian investor who was getting your shoes made there or a clothing line or something like that, you might be a little touchy about the country after they not only you blame them for killing your grandmother, but they blamed you for it. Because at one point, again, China was saying that the disease came from Italy and fuck those people. Okay. Investment by foreign companies in China tumbled to its lowest level in 18 years in the second half of last year, buffeted by tensions with the U.S., a dimming growth outlook, and fears of possible backsliding on economic reforms. Because nobody trusts them anymore. There's no such thing as a billionaire in China anymore. And everybody they tried to honeypot for about 10 years in the early 2000s started backing away as soon as Xi Jinping started tightening the noose, and anybody smart got out early. Because initially, everybody thought it was the Wild West. And they're just like, oh, we'll do business here. They want to do business. And I mean, they're communists, sure, but who gives a fuck? They want to sell widgets. I got people who want to buy widgets. I'll get something built over here. It'll be cheap, yada, yada. And it's basically, it's not like I'm rolling in like Coca-Cola in India and killing people over water rights. This is just a fucking factory. And they got a factory running all the time. They want to build my shit. Let them build my shit. And everybody just kind of rolled in. And by the way, there was this idea that there's a ton of money to take out the door. Like, okay, yeah, you could build a bunch of stuff here. You make a deal with us and we will 2x or 3x your output if you put the factory here or you let us work on this. And China really played that up with everybody. In many ways, it's how they tried to go after people like Devin Archer, who is Hunter Biden's partner, and the guys over there, why they were trying to yeah, we're friends. We're just all friends. This is all friendly and we mean well and it's going to be fine. When in reality, they had a long-term plan to basically steal all your shit and then sit on it and tell you to go fuck yourself and be an entire enclosed environment. They're going to put a cloche over the whole fucking country. All right. Foreign and direct investment into China totaled $42.5 billion between July and December of 2022, according to an official balance of payments, that constituted a 73% decline on the year. The sharpest drop dating back to data in 1999. Half-year totals had averaged more than $160 billion between 2020 and early 2022. Meanwhile, foreign direct investment by Chinese companies grew 21% to $84.2 billion, meaning that they're spending more out than they are getting in. 41.7 net outflow marked the first in 5.5 years. They're trying to grease the wheels. They're trying to invest in other places and like, yeah, we're good. We'll play good or whatever. They're fucking around. They're throwing money at the problem, essentially. The problem is when they do that, they don't have money to shore up their problems back home. Think Evergrande. Think, their ghost cities and all that shit we've talked about a bunch of times. Companies reluctant to make new investments in China has been fueled in part by fallout from the country's zero COVID policy. Actually utilized foreign direct investment, which includes reinvested profits in the last quarter of 2022, fell 35% on the year to $33.8 billion. These are people who, are building on what they did the year before. So they're like, okay, we did 1,000 orders. If everything goes well, we'll do 1,500 next year, and we'll do 2,000 next year. It's got a test as we go kind of arrangement. They're actually retracting. The steepest drop since the availability of comparable data in 1996, according to the Ministry of Commerce. This is Chinese numbers, by the way. This is not, me looking up some like IHateChina.com. Recent years have seen almost no new entries by European companies, according to an analyst of investments in China by New York-based Rhodium Group. And among businesses that continue to invest in China, the research firm noted a trend of internal decoupling, with companies including large automakers segregating their Chinese and non-Chinese supply chains to limit risks such as technology leaks. So you don't build your best stuff in China. You build 3-year-old models that you sell in other countries there. You don't build your new line there because they will steal it, is the idea. This has nothing to do with COVID. This is just them going, fuck this after a while. Okay, but remind me again, assholes, how China's going to find a workaround. By the way, while pegging the yuan to the US dollar. It's just so fucking dumb.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about a new financial world order, this is something that happens on a regular basis. We have lived at a time where we are the center of the global financial universe, so we feel like we're invincible. I'm sure that the British before us felt the same way, and the Dutch before them felt the same way, because you don't have that perspective. But as the elite are seeing this new financial world order play out, they are jockeying to put themselves in position to control every possible resource and make sure in the process you own nothing. And that is the shift that we are seeing take place. The challenge that we have,
again, honest to God, she's still talking about the World Economic Forum and the idea that we're going to all be renters of everything in our lives in the West. There is no even illusion in the World Economic Forum folks that any of this shit applies to China or Russia or Brazil or any of the BRICS countries or any of that stuff. They just kind of shrug that shit off and assume they're going to set up their own version of this nonsense. Nobody's fucking playing along in this stuff.
Which, as you know, we always see the trajectory. We just don't know the duration. We don't know if it's going to happen in 6 months, and we don't know if it's going to take years. But
the problem is, if it doesn't happen in 6 months, there are too many interrupters for it to be an emergency and a conspiracy. If you're conspiring to change the world in 30 years to a system no one will recognize, and you think you're going to do it by the boiling frog method, at some point, and again, I would argue this is exactly what's happening with petroleum, but the opposite of the way that they're saying it. I would argue that we woke up a few years ago, around 9/11 specifically, but in and around that area. And when you would see that, when people were protesting with the No Blood for Oil posters and the idea that we were in the Middle East, or that the Bushes and the Cheneys had this plan to control Middle Eastern oil and yada, yada. And we were like, fuck that. Why do we even need this garbage? That's when, who killed the electric car came out, and everybody started moving in this direction. And, Tesla got a bunch of money from the Obama administration, wouldn't exist without it. And we started moving in a direction where consumer vehicles should largely be electric so that we can shave off the extra oil and gas that we used beyond what we produce as a nation. So we're not reliant on violent monsters anymore to drive to the fucking store. And so we decided in a long process that was going to take years, call it net zero, call it the green future, whatever the fuck it was, that was seeded in violence that started in our need to be involved in the Middle East, allegedly, to keep oil flowing so that our economy would continue to grow, to move to a situation where we don't need oil for our economy to grow at all. And the other folks that saw how well we did on that pile, using oil to grease our systems, are not learning what the Indians learned about, like, telecom, for example. The reason why everyone in India got a phone faster than anyone else in the world is because the rest of us put up phone lines, physical phone lines. We went through the early stages of it. But the Indians at one point just went, all right, well, fuck it, we can't afford to do that. Fuck it, we'll just go without. And then as soon as cell phones showed up, everybody got one. It was easy to put up towers. It was easy to set up, use someone else's, buy into someone else's satellite system. And suddenly they have phone coverage over a giant fucking country almost instantly. Instead of doing that, instead of going, oh my God, the U.S. is going almost entirely electric, and along with Canada, over the next 10 years, and they are moving their consumer vehicles, whether it's Amazon trucks or their own little vehicles, like just commuter cars and that kind of stuff, to electric. And they're going to get to a point where gas stations are going to be, you're going to drive right fucking past them. And instead of going, we don't need all this diesel and shit like that, why don't we just jump to the next line? We'll make our investments in other areas, and then once they hit that line where they've got enough of those vehicles being produced, we'll just buy a bunch of them, and we'll build our system like the Indians did on wireless telecom, on electric vehicles and the like, so that we don't have to go through this polluting phase. But instead, China is just going all in on coal. They're just like they're lying to the world about green tech. Their solar is shit. They're not using it anywhere. It's so stupid how many people actually buy it that have never fucking been there and walked around it and gone, oh, this is not attached to anything. I see. So where was this wire supposed to go? I mean, it's one thing if the plug was still on it, but someone stole the plug. These solar panels are not attached to anything. And they're facing the wrong direction. The sun rises over there and goes this way, and they're faced south. What the shit are you doing? It's just dumb. And somebody said, I love my Zero electric motorcycle. The brand Zero whistle, Whistlo. I'm very excited at that idea. I've looked at those a couple of times. Awesome. You like it? It's cool. Yeah? Okay, here we go. Back to these idiots. I don't know how much more of this shit I can stand either.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't be prepared right now, because you just don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, which is why you need to buy Carol Roth and Glenn Beck's bucket of shit. Shit, it's edible shit, and then you just shit it back into the bucket and start all over again. Just put a bucket of shit in your bunker. If you got a family of 4, get 4 buckets of shit. You just drink the shit down, shit the shit out, right back in the bucket with Carol Roth and Glenn Beck's bucket of shit. These motherfuckers, be prepared. The rapture might be coming. You know what that's like. Jesus might appear at any moment. So, you should constantly be praying for forgiveness, because you're a fucking asshole all the rest of the day.
Yesterday, the Treasury came out and said, we need punitive action and more regulation on cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Yes. You do, dummy. And everybody who lost their fucking shirt because of FTX said yes.
They are doing everything they can to kill cryptocurrency.
No, they aren't. Honest to God, regulations are the only thing that can fucking revive it. They're trying to do CPR, you dumbass. Do you think anybody stopped buying crypto when FTX went down because they feared government regulations? They bugged out because they knew it was completely untrustworthy, that there was no regulations, that it was fucking fart air. Yeah, exactly. Crypto knifed itself. The shit are you talking? Like, who even believes this? Who thinks this? This is one of the, like I was ready for a stupid take on something else, but this, like, to just swing in there like, we need to punish people if they cheat people out of their money with crypto. Like, yeah, and?
Crypto is at 27 for Bitcoin now, 27,000. That's up. Gold was...
Is it? Hold on. 27,938. It's down $113 today, but let's see. There you go. There's got to be a chart, if I may. Here's the chart. Let's see. 1 year. 5 year. 1 year. There you go. Here you go. This is in a year, Glenn. This is the last year in Bitcoin. Hold on, it's spiked back up on the other side, so we'll let it at least have a mini hockey stick on the other end. There you go. Whoop, there it is. Flat. There you go. February. That's where it is right now. This is where it was last year. April 7th, it was 43,452. And there's a bunch of people saying it's going to be 1 million in the next 90 days. You know why they're saying that? You know why they're saying that, Glenn? You know why they're saying it's going to be 1 million in 90 days? So dumbasses all over the place will pour their money into Bitcoin because they believe that person, and that person is going to wait until their money gets until they can lie everyone up to 45K and get their money the fuck out.
Is it, what, 240 yesterday? And Citibank is saying that they expect it soon to be at $2,300.
Hold on, what was? Back up. I didn't hear the middle part of that.
27 for Bitcoin now, 27,000. That's up. Gold was at, what, 240 yesterday? And Citibank is saying that...
Hold on. Gold per ounce? Gold is it?
They expect it soon to be at $2,300.
Say that again. Hold on one second. If I may. Gold is at what? So, hey, that sounds great, man. If it's going to go up 100%.
Citibank is saying that they expect it soon to be at $2,300.
Yeah. Now, Carol has a look on her face that says, you just said something dumb, Glenn.
Gold was at, what, 240 yesterday?
240. Yesterday, gold was $240. How about no? You dumb son of a bitch. It's down $2 today. It's at $2,000. When the fuck? Gold hasn't been at $2, like $240 since when? Where was the last time? The maximum of it? Shit. The lowest it's been on their chart on gold futures was in 2016. It was $1,000. Gold price per ounce. There you go. Is that what he's talking about? Hold on. Nope. Yeah, that's it. Gold price per ounce. There it is. $2,007.66. And there's a big old chart about how much it's going to be worth. And you put your money in pretty rocks. That's the Glenn Beck way.
And Citibank is saying that they expect it soon to be at $2,300.
I mean, Ugh. It's just everywhere. Today, it's like, sorry, Lord, it's Stupid Friday. Clearly. Good Lord. Now, Carol is supposedly smart. She's a former investment banker. She has to know that gold was not $240 fucking dollars yesterday, or everyone would have bought some. Oh, he might have missed a zero. That's no excuse. He didn't say... Hold on.
Citibank is saying that they expect it soon to be at $2,300. That's craziness.
Yes, it is, Glenn. But the craziness is on the other... It's in your brain, not in their brain. You see? Because it was not... Oh, my God. A gram? Yeah. That's the theory. He's talking grams. Kilos.
Yeah,
yeah.
If you control the money, you control...
Gold isn't money, it's a pretty rock.
The people. So
no, you don't.
The people who are...
No, you don't.
Are involved with governments and central banks around the world, they are going to fight to the death to make sure they do not lose control of the money and the interest.
What the fuck does that mean? They're not going to kill the people who have their own citizens who use the currency. If the Fed was going to kill people just to get US dollars out of the fucking system, we'd be strafe bombing drug cartels, dummy. They're the ones sitting on giant bricks of fucking cash. What the shit?
Interesting thing for people who are interested in maintaining hard assets, like
hey, I've never had a problem.
I am, and I know you are.
Well, try as he might.
Is that, gold isn't really a center focus for them. They're very, very focused on cryptocurrency, and they're going to take that interest in it and confuse people to move towards the central bank digital currency that you've been warning about and I've been warning about. And that's the number one thing that we all need to push back on.
Oh, God. The Fed ran a test on it and said no. They literally were like, we should try this. Should there be a bank version of cryptocurrencies? If people are interested in cryptocurrencies, should there be a one that we can actually control that people could weight their other cryptocurrencies against and maintain a value? Is it a good idea? Can people... And they ran a test on it. Hold on. Fed tests. Hold on, let me back this up real quick. See if I can get right up against this.
Been warning about currency, and they're going to take that interest in it and confuse people to move towards the central bank digital currency that you've been warning about.
Mm-hmm. The U.S. It's December 15, long way to launch technical possibilities U.S. factory. First ever, here you go. White House released first ever comprehensive framework for responsible development of digital assets. That's different. Okay, hold on one second. News. Let's try this. Yeah, here you go. Okay. This is, they think, like, the Fed ran this thing on testing for, central bank digital currencies. And now everybody thinks that the Federal Reserve digital payment service, which is a way of exchanging stuff that uses blockchain so that it can't be intercepted and stolen, blah, 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 creates a digital currency. It doesn't. Some are claiming that the new Federal Reserve payment service will create a digital dollar in the U.S. That's false. The Federal Reserve announced on March 15 that a payment service called FedNow will be launched in July 2023. That's led to online claims, including this one from Robert F. Kennedy, asshole, equating FedNow to a central bank digital currency. Verify reader Wanda also asked if claims the FedNow creates CBDC are true. No. False. No, FedNow does not create a central bank digital currency. FedNow is not the same thing as a central bank digital currency, nor does it create one. Federal Reserve and several experts told Verify. The great thing about this hackery, if I may, and I've only got 5 minutes left in the show, is that there are straw man and there are steel man arguments. And then there are what I would say are ghost arguments, where you are arguing against a specter that you can scare someone with, but there is no chance that it will materialize, that it will never achieve physical form. And therefore, if you line yourself up and steel your back and say, I'm the person protecting you against this thing, and that thing never happens, people, sponge-headed ones, yes, but people that support you or follow you can believe, see, if it wasn't for him or her, this would have happened. It's so aggravating. Like, these motherfuckers.
I've been warning about, and that's the number one thing that we all need to push back on, because
think about everything else these assholes have said. Think about it. Everything else these idiots have said. And a central bank digital currency, effectively a blockchain created cryptocurrency that you can use as a form of digital money without ever having to have a paper certificate, but that is blockchain transferable through a myriad of sources, and therefore, if you want to pay, something on the down low, and you don't want it showing up, you can do that with a crypto. That's the entire point. And blockchain related currencies can all be done that way. So even if it's a government led currency, they still can't tell where it's going because you have rights against unreasonable search and seizure, and that would be entrapment. That would be, you're still going to be able to buy heroin or fentanyl with fucking CBDCs if they actually exist. But these assholes think it's the mark of the beast and blah, blah, blah.
It needs congressional authorization. They are going to slip it in somewhere.
It's always been my plan.
And we have to find out where and make sure that that doesn't pass.
So they're going to slip it in some.
Oh, Carol, you opened a can of worms? Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear.
And we have to find out where and make sure that that doesn't pass.
So they're going to slip it in somewhere in pieces, or
or just the tip, probably.
Or it's going to come when a bank.
Oh, it'll definitely come when they slip it in. Believe me.
Crisis happens and it's over. And then they'll just go on television and say to everybody, you got to do this. It'll be TARP. They'll just ram it through.
You mean congressional Republicans or Ron DeSantis or Trump?
You can't have a bank run if you don't have banks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be their arguments. And we need to say, nope, that doesn't pass muster with us.
Sure you can. Yeah, you can. You can actually, the same thing with Bitcoin, you can create a hard drive place for it to sit. Your code is the only thing that allows it to be moved about. That's how blockchain works. If you don't give up that code, it doesn't move. And the only way that the government could make it move without your approval is that they would have to have a warrant for your private property and show that you committed a crime or that you did not own that in the first place. And none of these cases, even in the case of a CBDC, would that be the case. Otherwise, I mean, again, this is just the fear of communism. This is that's how communism is going to happen.
Yeah. Tell me, I've been hearing about the job numbers, and the job numbers came out today, and they weren't so bad. But I don't trust the job numbers from the government.
I trust China's numbers and Russia's numbers and Saudi Arabia's numbers and Iran's numbers and the drug cartel's numbers and Brazil's numbers and any article written about any foreign country. But I don't trust the job. I did under Donald Trump, even though he actively said he would lie to my fucking face.
Well, let me tell you a couple of things about it. First of all, it was right about around expectations. 236,000 jobs added.
Added. 250,000 people got a new job.
Again, if you believe that. The interesting piece, if you do a little bit of a digging, is that government really propped up that number. So this wasn't coming hugely from the private sector.
Let's take a look. Let's see if Carol's right about that. I mean, I don't know where. I was just say, okay, jobs report. Okay. Stands streak, labor market cool, U.S. March, jobs report today. Is the stock market open today? Good Friday employment situation summary. U.S. ad. Let's go to here. Generalize. These are. Here you go. Here are the few key figures from the report compared to last month's revised numbers. Non-farm payrolls. 236 versus 326. Obviously, satanic numbers. There's a lot of 2s and 3s and 6s. Unemployment rate 3.5 versus 3.6. Average hourly earnings 0.3 up 0.3 versus up 0.2. So they continue to rise. Average hourly earnings year over year 4.2 versus 4.6. The unemployment rate, total non-farm payrolls up like there. By industry, leisure and hospitality was again the largest contributor to last month's job gains. Obviously, Democrats throwing parties about passing their infrastructure bill. 72,000 new workers coming into the sector during March. Temporary help services, such as were the second largest contributor to job growth last month, with 65,000 workers joining the sector. The labor force participation also ticked higher in March, rising 62.6 from 62.5 in February. Average weekly hours fell slightly, so people worked a little less. Over the last 6 months, the U.S. economy has added an average of 334,000 jobs a month. Following Friday's release, markets are now pricing in a 67% chance the Fed will raise it up another quarter basis points. Forecast from the central bank suggests at least one. Still, economists see March's jobs data as beginning a period of slower growth for U.S., which will eventually result in the rise of the unemployment rate. That's what the fucking Fed is shooting for. Fed expects unemployment to rise to 4.5% by the end of this year. That's their goal. Earlier this week, data on initial jobless claims out Thursday and private payroll data from ADP came in, slowing wage growth from 4.6 over the prior year to 4.2. Initial claims. I'm not seeing this jobs shit that says it's government. Are you? It looks largely hospitality and temp workers. Are these temporary government workers?
Sector was less than expected, but there were 47,000 government jobs added. So all of that government spending is
47,000 government jobs. Oh my gosh. 47,000 government jobs added. Here we go. Today's top 47,000 state government jobs. Okay, no, sorry. Where jobs go? Where jobs were gained and lost in March. Here you go. This is okay. This is CNN Business is saying this. Here we go. This might be what. The latest monthly jobs show the U.S. hiring slowed in March, but remained robust. Gains in leisure and hospitality fueled the month's growth trend. By the way, the 236,000 and 40,000 of them were government jobs. Okay, is that what she's saying? Gains were continued. Some weakness, cracks, 9,000 jobs in March. Government employers added 47,000 jobs in month, largely by hiring from state and local governments, which typically struggle to add workers in a tight labor market. Healthcare businesses added 34,000 jobs, and employment in the business sector. What do you know? State and local government. Obviously, that's the federal government money printer go burr, right? No? But how? That means, doesn't that count as like cops and people who, staffers and all kinds of ranges of state and local jobs? Yes, it does. The mayor of this little town can afford a staffer now because their tax base has gone up. I know. That's what I was thinking too. I was like, could they be more full of shit? Yes, they could. And they keep doing it.
is propping up the economy and also working against what the Fed is trying to do. So I think
propping up the economy and fighting the Fed. So the state and local governments are fighting the Fed. Like, this is fucking stupid. She wants you to believe that the federal government, the Biden administration, is hiring government workers to push back against the fucking Fed trying to crash employment and raise it a whole point to fight inflation, so that they're struggling against Jerome Powell. But the problem is that the right wing also thinks Jerome Powell is trying to fuck the economy. God damn, they're stupid. Dark Brandon scores again, and I'm here for it. Thank you, Ray Allen. Oh my gosh. And Marcus, thank you as well. That's really lovely, Ray Allen. Bless you. Thank you guys. And don't forget, by the way, thumbs up, support the show. I'm out. I gotta like this. I can only take so much stupid in one day. Holy shit. Love you guys. I was riled up today. And I want to, I don't like to get too riled up. I'm a happy-go-lucky guy trying to, enjoy ourselves. You know what I mean? You can't carry that kind of shit around with you all the time. So I want to say from the heart, and I'm as warmly as I possibly can, to Glenn, to Carol, to Sagar, Crystal Ball, to Jimmy, and all those folks or whatever. Fuck you. Fuck your stupid ideas and your stupid conceptions of reality that don't match any of the data, and you just shift them to fix it. Fuck you. Sorry, is that not what you were expecting? Sorry. Other than that, I have no opinion. Oh, and one more thing.